what went wrong, where, how can they pick those lessons and make sure that now going forward today, tomorrow, and Sunday, that things are better. Again, the use of live ammunition at that point in Kasarani, that was you know, the extreme.
Right.
And you know, you could even see the reaction from many people, even those in the VIP area, were feeling, oh no, we should not be getting to this level. We shouldn't be getting to this point. It comes again into why I'm saying it's a crowd control issue. It's a communication beat as well. So we've escorted this body, we've come with it up to Kasarani. And then it's gone. And we don't know what's happening. So, you know.
Who's letting people know?
Yeah.
Who's letting people know? Who's letting people know? Okay, so here it is. This is what is going to happen. Give us a few minutes, because now what would have happened at Lee is happening here. And why it's happening here, what does happening here mean? It means that we have got to prepare him for viewing. Everybody understands preparing a body for viewing, you know, and just walking this crowd through that. But if you just look at you know, how this crowd and how mammoth it was, it was a mammoth crowd.
And yet
it took over very many things. I saw a lot of restrained and working together with the military to the point where, you know, this house was surrounded by those crowds and they were driving, and the motorbikes, now I forget about the border riders.
That were the outriders,
and going all the way, the military up to the airport, up to the stadium.
There's a lot of this that I'm still like, should have been anticipated. I feel like I'm going to hold steady that it is Raila Odinga. To not expect a mammoth crowd is a little strange. Now, yes, people will argue and say, I know we should have expected, but it was so huge. Expect the extremes. So how do you plan for extremes? And again, Francis Kimemia is joining us at 7 a.m. We've hosted him once before. Trying to ask Mariam, because we've hosted so many people.
We're doing the math. Francis Kimemia. He's a former governor for Nyandarua. But the reason we're calling him is his experience in state planning.
And the
he was head of public service. And before he became head of public service, he was principal secretary for Interior. And so he would have been the one with his interior and coordination of government. So he understands about all these things. How do you put a plan in place for any event? Whether it's national celebrations, whether it's national mourning, whether it's crowds in terms of riots, whether it's crowds in terms of, you know, whatever situation they're in, that there is. Also, Francis Kimemia will also give us his personal experience with Raila Odinga, because he was PS Interior when Raila was Prime Minister. So
there's a lot to capture with him.
There's a lot to capture with him.
And let him come and correct me when I say it should have been expected. I'm happy for him to push back and be like, actually, no, some things you don't see coming. But again, I just hold steady to the fact that, and it's similar to something that Mariam alluded to, it's how you plan in the eventuality, as grim as it sounds, what do you do when this happens? Drawing comparison to what happened when Nelson Mandela was laid to rest, I know that there's different factors to consider, but he also, they knew he would draw a mammoth crowd beyond their wildest imagination, but they prepared for it. And so it ended up being that people still felt like they were able to mourn him, view his body. I know the difference with the lying in state is that his went for 3 days. Kibaki's as well, the late President Kibaki, Daniel Arap Moi, but it's the way they had already anticipated, because there's also the culture of being very expressive. It still happened, even when his hearse was being taken all the way to Kunu, which is his final resting place. But I like the way they were able to contain the crowd without invalidating their grief, but also without having to experience what we saw yesterday. This would 100% have happened in SA, because it's Mandela. And so I'm like, why don't you take lessons where countries were able to put everything in, together, even for the viewing of the body. When I saw the proximity of people to the late Honorable Raila Odinga's casket, I also panicked a bit, because there needs to be some form of distance. So again, let Honorable Kimemia come and be like, Ujui, where is Vitu? But I'm like, nope, something could have been done differently. We shouldn't see this again.
All the time, all the time, something should be done a bit differently. Taking into account everything, including the cultural issues around it.
100%.
So, for example, in this particular case, Raila and the culture of the Luo and how they grieve is something big.
It is.
As we look at the example, for example, of Nelson Mandela, Kibaki here, Moi here, Wamalwa Kijana here, and how they were arranged, just in 2020, when Qasem Soleimani, the general in Iran he was the head of a military unit, and Iran with the entire security, but during his funeral procession, it just completely went out of control because of the emotion and all. People ended up dying.
Yeah,
many people. I was just looking through that, just trying to remember what exactly happened, because I remember the scenes around it. 50 people died around that. It's a stampede during the funeral procession in his hometown after millions gathered in the streets.
Again, state funerals are not planned when the person passes.
100%.
Anywhere in the world. Media houses will have obituaries of prominent people ready to go. Again, grim, but you see the why. So the fact that, the 72-hour window is actually not an excuse. I was also with you. I was like, 72 hours is really a short period to plan for. And then it hit me, state funerals are planned.
Yes. And also, as we even move to the dailies, and we're running images, obviously, for those who are with us on NTV. For those who are listening to us on Nation FM, we're just rolling images of yesterday, the different government officials viewing the body of late Honorable Raila Odinga, the crowds at Kasarani, and so on. I'm still going to come back and say, yes, we understand the culture and how different people express themselves. My thing is, grief is dignified when there's structure. I'm not going to, at this point, say people should have, because that's a conversation that I know people are already deliberating. I'm like, grief is grief. However they express it, however people want to disagree with it, had there been structures, even no matter how expressive you are, there's still structures to allow that to happen, to allow you to come as your full self, because you're grieving Raila Odinga, without it turning into what it did yesterday. That one, I think 100%, we can't predict how people grieve. Whether it's part of the culture or not, it's grief. It can overwhelm, it can overpower your body. You throw yourself, you wail, you cry. That's grief. Aya, what are the structures to allow the grief to be dignified by allowing people to express that, to view the body, to wail, but in a way that does not turn into what we saw degenerate into what we saw yesterday in Kasarani. I really want to... these are the times I realize why people go and do... I can't do masters in this thing now. They'll go and study it because this should never happen again. And we missed an opportunity for Honorable Raila Odinga's body at the airport. We missed that ceremonial moment that I think would have been beautiful and powerful. I
don't think a lot of people actually knew. Again, I don't think I was very keen during previous state funerals for Daniel Arap Moi and for Mwai Kibaki. So it was when we were threading with Latif yesterday, and he says the plane doesn't just get off. I mean, the body doesn't just get off the plane and then onto the hearse. There's a ceremony behind it. And then I'm realizing we didn't get that now. And there's so many other things. Just there's space for, like you've said. The procession, like down Mombasa Road, I think could have been, and it was something cultural, something beautiful, something that spoke to who Raila was. And I think there's space for holding both of those. We should still have gotten that military precision, the ceremony around a state funeral as is required, and then have the funeral procession move in that way with the people and in a way that they feel close to him. I think those two things can
coexist, and we can find out how the crowds again on the screens, and they reflect everything that we're seeing on the front page of the dailies.